there. Today we are reading chapter 36 and 37, and I'm really eager to start reading. We're getting super close to the end already. I can't believe it. Okay, so chapter 36. Down on the first floor, Charles and Andrew were working their way around the semicircle of the 3-story tall floor-to-dome bookcases filled with fiction. It was nearly 8 p.m. "We need to find the blasted book," said Charles, craning his neck to study the shelves. "I'm getting kind of hungry," mumbled Andrew. "You had a snack this afternoon," snapped Charles. "Well, now it's time for dinner." "No, we need to find Anne of the Green Gables first." The classic Lucy Maud Montgomery was the middle of book on the top shelf of the staff picks display. So far, Charles, Haley, and Andrew had not been able to find it anywhere in the library. "Unfortunately," Andrew said, "they've temporarily erased the book's call numbers from the database. So we wouldn't know which to punch into the hover ladder's control panel," grumbled Charles. "Actually," said Andrew, "they might have shelved it in the children's room, or maybe in the 800s room with literature." "Could there be in the 400s room too? Because it was originally written in Canadian, which is technically a foreign language." "So you have said," Andrew, repeatedly, "but we've already searched those locations several times. It has to be here with the other fiction titles. You just need to fly up and find it." "Well," said Andrew, "I'm kind of afraid of heights." "Fine, whatever. I'll go up and grab it. But you have to give me some kind of call number to enter into the hover ladder." "Lucy Maud Montgomery wrote the other Anne books. There's Anne of Annvalea." Charles dashed over to the nearest library table, swiped his fingers across the glass face of its built-in computer pad. "Here we go. Anne of Annvalea by Lucy Maud Montgomery. F. Mon." "Yes," said Andrew. "Fiction books are mostly put into the shelves by alphabetical order by author's last name. Non-fiction titles are classified in the Dewey Decimal System." "How long have you known this?" Andrew's nose twitched. "Since second grade." "So all we've ever needed to do was find F-M-O-N. We could have found this book hours ago." Andrew gulped. "You are such a disappointment." Shaking his head, Charles huffed over to one of the hover ladders, and he quickly jabbed F-M-O-N into the keypad. The boot clamps locked into his place around his ankles. "You owe me for wasting all this time, Andrew. You owe me big time. If you let me down one more time, I swear I'll tell everybody you're a big blubbering baby. I'll post it all over school." "Don't worry, I'll make you glad you picked me for your team, Charles. I promise." The hover ladder lifted over off the floor and gently glided up to the M section of the fiction wall. Shuttling sideways, it carried Charles over to a shelf displaying all the Anne books. He grabbed a copy of Anne of Green Gables. As soon as he did, the ladder started to slow down and descend to the floor. "What'd you find?" asked Andrew when Charles landed. "The clue we needed." He showed Andrew the card that had been tucked inside the front cover. "Okay," said Andrew. "It's C plus hat. So the word is chat, which, by the way, could also be chat, the French word for cat." "Well done, Andrew," said Charles, even though he knew the clue was already C plus Anne equaling can, thereby making the puzzle "you can walk out of the blank blank in class blank." The way what did what, he wondered, and what does in mean? Charles desperately needed to find the 3 missing pictograms. Suddenly, Mr. Lemoncello's voice boomed out of the speakers ringing the rotunda. "Hey, Charles! Hey, Andrew! Let's do a deal!" Game show music blared. A canned crowd cheered. Charles turned around and saw shafts of color light illuminating 3 envelopes perched on top of the library's round desk. Clarence, the security guard, marched into the reading room, folding his arms over his chest, took up a position near the 3 envelopes. "We have a green envelope, a blue envelope, and a red envelope," said Mr. Lemoncello. "In 2 of those 3 envelopes are copies of 2 of the 3 pictogram clues you still need. In one, there is a clunker card. If you pick the envelope with a clue, you get to keep it, and you get to keep going. But once you pick a clunker card, you are done, and you suffer the most awful consequences." Andrew raised his hand. "Yes, Andrew." What are the consequences? Something bad, said Mr. Lemoncello. In fact, something wicked this way will probably come. Do you want to do a deal? Yes, said Charles. The canned audience cheered. All right then, Charles, you roll first. Pardon? Swipe your finger across the nearest desktop computer panel. The Dice Tumbler app is up and running. Again, the pre-recorded audience cheered. They sounded like they loved watching dice tumble more than anything in the world. Charles slid his finger across the glass panel. The animated dice rolled. Ooh, cried Mr. Lemoncello. Double sixes. That gives you a 12. Is that good, sir? Maybe. Maybe not. Okay, Andrew, your turn. Peckelman tapped the glass. The dice flipped over. Another set of doubles. 2 ones. Snake eyes. Is that bad? Andrew said. Maybe, said Mr. Lemoncello. Maybe not. Okay, guys, which envelope would you like to open? Charles thought about it while the tick-tock music played. They were given a chance to play Let's Do a Deal after they located Anne of the Green Gables clue. Coincidence? He thinks not. We'll take the green envelope, sir. Clarence presented the green envelope to Charles. Open it, said Andrew. Open it. Charles undid the clasp, pulled out a card. A loud zonk rocked the room. The card was black, with blocky white type. Uh-oh, mumbled Andrew. What does it say on the card? Sorry, kids, you're out of luck, read Charles. So, out of doors, you are all now stuck. Clarence picked up the blue and red envelopes and marched back toward the entrance hall. What's that mean? Said Andrew. Well, said Mr. Lemoncello, Charles rolled a 12 and you rolled a 2. What's 12 plus 2? 14, said Charles eagerly, the way he always did math when he wanted to remind his teacher that he was the smartest kid in class. Ooh, said Mr. Lemoncello, that is not good. In fact, I'd say it's stinkerific. Stinkerific, said Andrew. Is that even a word? It is now, said Mr. Lemoncello. JJ, tell 'em what they've lost. An authoritative female voice boomed out of the ceiling speakers. Warning! Due to a clunker card, all 10 Dewey Decimal doors will be locked in 10 minutes, at exactly 8 o'clock. If you are in one of those rooms, kindly leave immediately. The 10 doors on the second floor will remain locked for 14 hours. Andrew panicked. What? 14 hours? I told you 12 plus 2 is bad, quipped Mr. Lemoncello. Of course, it could have been good if you had picked one of the other envelopes. You would have received a clue and a free 14-month subscription to Library Journal. Charles did some quick math. Sir, does this mean we'll be locked out of the 10 Dewey Decimal rooms until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning? Bingo, said Mr. Lemoncello. It sure does. That stinks, whined Andrew. We need those stupid rooms to solve your stupid puzzle. Clunker cards stink. This game stinks. 14-hour penalties stink. Charles did his best to block out Andrew's rant. He needed to think. Then it hit him. Kyle Keeley's team had been working on something other than the solution they had been to the bigger puzzle of how to escape from the library. Otherwise, Charles and his team would not have even found the 9 clues they'd already picked up. Surely, if Keeley's team had been playing the same memory match game, they would have found at least one of the pictograms before Charles, Andrew, and Haley did. They must be working a completely different angle. Charles was certain that he could use his downtime to learn what Keeley and his team had been doing in their meeting room and combine it with the picture puzzles he would have already found. Then he would emerge from the library victorious. Do not despair, Andrew, Charles said confidently. We are still going to win. How? Charles leaned in and cupped his hands around his mouth so no security cameras could read his lips. Remember, he whispered, you need to pay me back for wasting a ton of time finding Anne of Green Gables. What? You're not the only one who picked that stupid green envelope you're the one who picked the stupid green envelope with the clunker card. Charles narrowed his eyes and chilled his hushed voice. So, nothing, said Andrew nervously. I thought, to point it out. Charles turned his eyes into ice blue. So, whispered Andrew, swallowing hard. What do you want me to do? Find a way to sneak into Community Room B. Andrew wheezed in panic. That's impossible. Don't worry, I have an idea. What is it? 2 words. Sierra Russell. Chapter 37. Ever wonder if this could reek any worse, said Akemi. Because it couldn't. Yo, none of us pulled a clinker card, groused Miguel. That means somebody on Charles's team did it. Akemi and Miguel, you were right. Are right, Kyle, said Sierra. This really isn't fair. I know, was all Kyle could say, but it's like in Mr. Lemoncello's Family Frenzy, where one player pulls an orthodontist card and everybody has to move back 7 spaces just to buy their kids braces. Kyle and his teammates were back in the community room B. They'd been staring at the clue board, wondering what a wailing blackbird had to do with Willy Wonka and the 10 Commandments, not to mention the long list of books and statues, when the voice in the ceiling made its announcement about the Dewey Decimal doors being locked for 14 hours. Well, Mr. Lemoncello better have a good reason, said Akemi. Oh, I do, said Mr. Lemoncello. His face appeared on one of the meeting room walls, which was really just a giant plasma screen video monitor. Team Kyle was not being penalized for Team Charles's blunder, he said. Far from it, in fact. You are being rewarded. Akemi arched her eyebrows in disbelief. Really? How? The other team's penalty gives you a wrinkle in time. A wrinkle in time, said Kyle. Is that a clue? No, it's a book. And sometimes, Kyle, a book is just a book. But thanks to the clunker card, you have the gift of wrinkled time to see out clues outside of the 10 Dewey Decimal rooms. Speaking of time, a magazine available in our periodicals section, it's dinner time. So, the game is basically suspended until 10 o'clock tomorrow, said Kyle. Well, Kyle, that's up to you. You can use this time as a bonus to think, read, and explore, or you can run upstairs and play video games all night long. The choice is yours. We want to win this game, said Kyle. His teammates nodded in agreement. One door miss, said Mr. Lemoncello. Keep working the puzzle, but avoid Mrs. Basil E. Frankenwheeler's files. They're all mixed up, and before you turn in this evening, you might want to spend some time curled up with a good book. They just said all the book rooms are locked, said Akemi. The nice lady in the ceiling was only talking about the 10 Dewey Decimal rooms. There is plenty of first-class fiction in the Rotunda reading room. Dr. Zinchenko has even selected 7 specifically for you, 7 remaining contestants. After dinner time, you'll find those books on her desk. When he said that, Mr. Lemoncello started winking. I think you'll find the books to be ever enlightening, inspirational even. And then he winked some more. And now I must return to the side of the mountain. I'll see you in the morning, children. I have great expectations for you all. Mr. Lemoncello's image disappeared from the wall. Okay, said Akemi. From the way Mr. Lemoncello was just winking, either somebody kicked a bucket of sand in his face, or our recommendation reading list is another clue. On the other side of the rotunda, Charles huddled with Andrew in meeting room A. I don't trust Haley, he said. Why not? Charles placed a hand on Andrew's shoulder. Well, my friend, I'm not sure if I should tell you this, but Haley told me she didn't think you were handsome enough to appear in Mr. Lemoncello's holiday commercials with us when we win. Because of my glasses? Charles bit his lip and nodded. Of course, I totally disagree, though. I see, said Andrew, his ears burning bright red. Then she doesn't get to see what we found in Anne of the Green Gables book. Well, if it's up to you, Andrew, if that's what you want to play it. You bet I do. Fine. Let's go see what's for dinner. I'm starving. When Charles and Andrew entered the cafe, the Keeley team was already inside filling their trays. Hey, way to go, Charles, joked Miguel Ferdinands. You guys pulled the clunker card? Indeed we did. However, not even that bit of bad luck can derail our juggernaut. Huh? Said Akemi. That means we're still going to win, said Andrew. Charles and Andrew crossed to the far side of the room to join Haley, who was sitting in the corner. You guys find any clues this afternoon? She asked. Sadly, no, said Charles. All we found was that door-locking penalty, and Andrew, who could almost lie as well as Charles. How about you, Haley? Charles asked. Find anything interesting? Nope, nada. Then she yawned and finished her dinner. I think I'll head upstairs and sack out. Really? It's only 8:48. I know, but I'm totally pooped. She yawned again. Plus, I want to be up bright and early before the Dewey Decimal rooms reopen. We have more clues to find. See you guys tomorrow, unless we have more team business to discuss. No, nothing. Then she walked out of the cafe. Chapter 38. We're on page 200. Wow. We have read